Good evening and welcome to the Planning Commission meeting for January the 18th, 2024. I will call this meeting to order. Celeste, could you please call roll?
David Brown,
Present.
Dr. Derek Hunt,
Present.
Victor Mendoza,
Here.
Dan Minkalinka,
Here.
Pardis Mohibitosh, Brian Olguin,
Present.
Monica Rodriguez,
Here.
Rebecca Spears, Cynthia Staley.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Celeste. I'd like to remind everyone tonight's meeting is being simulcast via TV 15. All right, I would like to first open up the meeting to citizen communication. Do we have any citizens wishing to speak only to items not listed for the public hearing? And if you wish to speak, please keep your comments to under 3 minutes, please. Maggie?
I'm not sure if this is a part of the public hearing or not, but Bill Russell, 604 North Victoria Street. Captain Chris Bird, who's on his way, asked me to, yes, sir.
This is not, is this on the, about the variance?
Yes, sir.
Then we're going to open
Okay.
it. This is other than what's, so whoever
Understood.
wishes to speak on items that are not listed for a public hearing, please do so. Okay, we have,
Good evening, everyone. I'm Michael Bondro. I live at 2204 East North Street. We have a trailer park owner who's not taking care of the property in a timely manner. And for one thing, they're filling potholes with mud. The problem with that is when it rains, it washes it away. And at one time, they filled them with gravel, and it washed that away. And I was wondering, are there specific codes that require him, by law to fill potholes or something? Because it's in a very bad situation. And another thing, on trailer 18, they have a sewer leak, and this has been going on for a very long time. And how do I know that? Their plumbers told me it had a sewer leak, and no one seems to be taking care of it from the trailer park. And I do appreciate Rick Madrid. He did help me get a gas leak fixed because the general manager wouldn't help. She says, you're responsible for it. But actually, it was 50-50. And Rick came and made sure they at least paid their fair share and stuff. And I would just like him to take care of the park. One City of Victoria truck got stuck on a branch because he wouldn't trim in the branches. Just recently, they did trim the branches, and it's 2204 East North Street, and the other park, 2210 East North Street, that's the same one. And I would just like to see the trailer park owner and the general manager take care of it. They only take care of it when code enforcement is involved, or public works or planning. And I appreciate Rick Madrid and Julie for her work and giving someone an extension on that dilapidated house. Thanks, and have a good evening.
thank you, sir. All right, if there's no one else, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Okay, our next up on the agenda is our first item is a variance request for the game warden and the TBWD district headquarters. I'd like to, staff, please, could you give the report?
Good afternoon. So James Wayne's Properties Incorporated is the owner, and Captain Chris Bird of Texas Parks and Wildlife Department is the agent. The subject property is listed as 2502 East Mockingbird Lane and is legally described as a Lot 1, Number 1, Block 1, Number 1 of the Mockingbird Subdivision Number 3, and is approximately 0.9 acres. The tenant wishes to install a 25-foot lean-to on the rear of the building. The proposed lean-to would be used to provide on-site cover and protection for a boat used by the department. Section 2183A-7 states that the minimum rear yard setback for commercial property shall be 10 feet, except for abutting existing or proposed residential uses, in which event the minimum rear yard setback is 20 feet. The granting of this variance would allow for the submittal and approval of a site plan and building plans depicting an approach depicting an encroachment of approximately 5.5 feet into the platted 20-foot rear yard setback. The planning staff recommends approval of this variance. This recommendation is conditional to the lean-to being added, only being a roof structure, as well as a site plan and building plans being submitted before any construction can commence. The staff does not believe that this variance will be detrimental to the area. Additionally, staff would like to note that the proposed ordinance does not require a 20-foot rear setback when an office use abuts a residential use. However, it requires adherence to the platted setbacks, which mean if the proposed ordinance wasn't in effect, the property owner could seek a setback variance or reduce the setback by replotting the property. It would not require planning commission approval. Thank you.
Is there any questions for the? Go ahead and now open it up for a public hearing. If you wish to speak on this item, please come forward at this time, sir.
Bill Russell, 604 North Street. And actually, I hadn't planned to be speaking. Captain Byrd was planning on being here, and actually, he's eventually going to show up. He was delayed from coming from Corpus Christi. The only thing he wanted to just explain a little more color to what this is. This will be the first time that Victoria will have a consolidation of all Texas Wildlife and Parks Department facilities for the entire district. And so it's bringing together all of Victoria, Lavaca, DeWitt, Calhoun, and Jackson counties to consolidate here. And the one neat thing that they're going to have is they've got an open area that's fenced, and it is designed for when a hurricane or like, such as Harvey, or like the flood in 1998, they bring game wardens from all over the state of Texas to participate. They're going to actually live on the facilities, work out of the facilities, and so it's important to them to keep that big area open, and they're pretty excited about the whole process. But in any event, I wasn't planning on explaining anything, but if anybody has any questions, and I doubt that you will, but if you have any questions, Amy and I are here to answer anything. And we thank you for your time and consideration.
No one else? I'll go ahead and close the public hearing now. We open it up further discussions with the group.
I have a question.
All right.
The lean-to, which direction is the slope of the lean? Towards the fence, back fence?
It's actually not sloping towards the fence or away from the fence. It slopes towards what is the back of the building. So if you have,
I'm here.
all right.
I made it. Evening, how's everybody?
Good, good.
Good, sorry for the delay. I come in from Corpus, we had staff meetings all day today. But to introduce myself, Captain Chris Byrd for Parks and Wildlife Department. I'm the captain for the Victoria District. The Victoria District encompasses 5 different counties. We have Victoria, Calhoun, DeWitt, Lavaca, and Jackson counties. There's 10 game wardens that serve those counties, as well as 2 office admins and myself. First off, I want to thank you guys for allowing us to be here and consider the variance that's being requested. And my presence tonight is to kind of give you guys an explanation of why we want it behind the building instead of the open yard that is to the west. How far did you get, Bill?
I tried to cover everything you were going to say.
Okay.
But
So I guess we'll start over. So where we're going to store boats is going to be behind the actual barn itself. It prevents purview of the vessels from the street, but it also provides a little bit more protection too as far as the weather concerned with the sun that comes up, and the building blocks it as well. The other item that we would like to stay away from is putting it into the open field is that during hurricanes, natural disaster responses, we actually have strike teams of game wardens of anywhere from 10 to 15 game wardens that'll be there with vehicles airboats, shallow draft water vessels, that we want to maintain an open area in that grass area so that we can park these vessels and trucks. And then within the new building, in the barn section of it that has HVAC in it, the game wardens are going to be stationed in there with cots and different things like that. So that's one of the main reasons we are seeking the variance to put it on the backside, is to maintain that open area in order to allow that for strategic planning and placement of assets during those critical incidents. If you guys have any questions, I can answer them.
Yeah, I had a question that when you entered in. The lean-to that you're placing in there, does it have a slope to it? And if so, which direction is it sloping?
That's a good question. I don't know if I can answer. If it does, I'm going to assume that most lean-tos
If you
do.
if you read in the letter that was provided, the high side of the structure will be 12 feet and the low side will be 9 foot, 11 inches. So it'll be less than a 2-foot difference between the lean. And I would assume that they would attach the higher part to the building. And it would
Correct, and
slope out.
that's what I'm assuming.
We don't
Okay.
have those detailed plans. We do have the dimensions in the letter,
Okay.
but I make that assumption as well.
So therefore, any rainfall coming off that lean-to is going to go hit towards that wooden fence in that area.
Just for clarity, and actually, that's the way I thought it was the first time myself. But actually, the high area is the side where the boat would go in, and it leans down to the backwards, so the low end is next to the building to the rear.
So it's the opposite way.
Yeah, so,
Yes.
so it's not from the building to the back, it's from one side to the other side.
Okay, so then it follows the same roof pattern as the building itself.
The building is a pitch roof, so, yes, I mean.
So it'll
at the
say, it'll be,
break, yes.
so, okay. Okay, that answers my question, because I was concerned if it was in the other direction, we could potentially be flooding the backside, depending how
so
the drainage.
During the site planning process, we verify that they won't have any additional water running off the site post-development than they have pre-development, and that's part of the building permit and site plan package requirements, which is why we are recommend approval subject to the full site plan and building permit requirements.
Thank you, Julie. That answers my question.
So I have a few questions, but it kind of coincides, and this is why in a statement, really. And so, how many boats you said you were storing there, and you said they're all low water, shallow water?
Yes, sir. It'd only be during certain specific timeframes. So let's say that we have a hurricane that's going to be hitting Houston area. We typically stage our assets away from the actual impact zone. So that would be Victoria or further inland. So typically, I would say anywhere from 8 to 10 vessels in that area. Plus, every game warden, you have to remember that it has their own truck. Because that's our office and that's where we work out of. So you're looking at anywhere from 10 to 12 vehicles and then probably 8 vessels. We also have cargo trailers that have equipment, special swift water vessels as well. So, but it's not going to be a permanent. Typically on those events, they stage 2 days prior to the event taking place, and then we'll move those assets to the impact area.
Which brings in, and it takes away the second question, really, because, dealing with boats and since it's not being stored there, because, the engine and the water time that needs to be on the boat, it has to be in the water for the engine, but you just answered that. It's just for a stationary
It's a
ground.
staging area, yes,
And,
sir. Yes, sir.
Other than that, my statement is, I think it's a great thing, especially for Victoria, because I believe that area, that it should be a hub for a lot of, not only just wildlife, but a lot of different type of businesses. So I think it's a good thing that's happening.
Absolutely. And to clarify, to kind of explain to you guys what we do as game wardens when we are called upon. Obviously, everybody understands that game wardens do fish and game enforcement, commercial enforcement, but during times of hurricane disasters, we are the ones that they call who have the assets, the boats, the training to operate in those. We have swift water teams, we have search and rescue teams, we have aviation, we have those different assets. So the state operations center utilizes us in those specific circumstances for those immediate needs.
I'll just add one item of interest. The 15 years I was on city council, I attended a lot of those hurricane daily meetings that we had for emergency purposes. But when I really got my education was when Rita hit, and I got a call, because I'm a pilot, and asked Melissa Guerrero one of our CPAs that was in Beaumont, and she was trapped and couldn't get out, and they said, Bill, would you go over and fly over and pick up Melissa and bring her home? And I said, well, sure. And when I landed at Beaumont, it looked like a Vietnam War zone. I mean, everybody, I had never seen anything like it. And, so we appreciate these guys a whole lot.
Thank you.
It was tremendous. I'm originally from Port Arthur, Texas, so during Harvey, everybody, that came and assisted and helped and things, so, yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do I hear any motions?
I'll move that we approve the variance.
I have a motion on the table to approve the variance by Ms. Saley, a second by Ms. Rebecca Spears. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you very much. All right.
Okay.
Next thing on our agenda is the consent agenda, and we have the minutes for the December 21st meeting. Any motions?
Move approval.
I have a motion on the table approved by Mr. Brown,
Second.
second by Ms.
As long as you don't call me Mike. All right.
God, lost your
Derek
name.
Hunt.
Dr. Hunt.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, next thing on the agenda is the other business monthly report.
So, in the month of December of the year 2023, the city of Victoria has processed 98 permits. And that's almost equal to the number that we processed last year, the year before, for the same month. For this past month, for MEP permits, we've processed 114, and we have collected $30,997 in permit fees. Thank you.
All right, that's it. Any items from the commissioners?
Thank you. He's still going on.
Oh,
Oh, sorry. And then for plan
I'm
reviews.
sorry.
My apologies.
Okay,
We had one minor plat, which would be the Victoria Public Safety Headquarters subdivision, and 4 site plans on review this month, or for the past month. Thank you.
sorry about that. I thought you were saying. All right, any items for the commissioners? If not, I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 5:31 today. I'll have a great rest of your week.